of the house in the morning.
Yeah, and I got one. People say that me and Matt Ryan are a lot alike.
No, they don't. I don't.
No,
think
they
that's
don't say
ever
that.
Been said. I don't think it's ever.
Come on, Matt. I got an arm. What's up, Matt?
There's Matt Ryan's on with us. Hi, Matt.
How are we doing? I've been up for an hour and a half at this point trying to get 2 7-year-olds ready for school. So
unbelievable. God bless you,
which is a win.
Well, believe me, after a few nights in New Orleans, getting ready for it, do a radio show at 5 a.m. is a bit of a challenge here and everything, and it's been fun. But Matt, it's this Birds team made it to the bowl, and when you were on with us before the Rams game, when you talked about the fact that playing in South Philly was a huge advantage. When you saw the Eagles get home field advantage for the NFC title game, did you think they were pretty much home free?
Yeah, listen, I thought the way that they played, too, the defense, right? We talked before the Rams game, and it was, can that defense show up? Can the run game show up? We kind of banked on that, and it did. And for me, at least, it was, can Jalen Hurts just give us a little more? I think he's played really well in the playoffs. I really do. And when they got that home field advantage, to me, it felt like, even though it was a dangerous Commanders team and a team that was playing well, if they started the game and got a little bit of momentum on that side, they weren't going to lose it at that stadium. And, they come out with the explosion on the offensive side of the ball. Defense plays excellent. I thought it was a statement game going into the Super Bowl for them.
Can you talk more about how Jalen Hurts has played throughout the playoffs? People, for some reason, they look for the glamour. They look for the 300-yard game in the air. But he's been efficient, and he hasn't been turning the football over, and the Eagles are winning. So can you talk about Jalen Hurts? You just said you think he's been playing really well throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, listen, I think he's doing, this was kind of the thing with Purdy, right, last year as a game manager, whatever. Number one, that's your job as a quarterback, right, is to do what you need to do for the offense to be successful. And I think he's done it excellent. I thought in the championship game, early on, the rhythm, the timing, the outbreaking routes that he was throwing, just the poise that he had, I thought it was a perfect fit for what they wanted to do offensively. And the numbers aren't going to be gaudy. Listen, if they run the football the way that they're capable of, right, it's going to be in that, low 200s, something like that in terms of yardage. But the efficiency with which he plays, to me, is kind of the X factor. And I think he's looked comfortable. I think he's looked poised. I think he looks confident. And I think that shows up in the way he's throwing the football, particularly on those rhythm-type throws, the little outbreakers that he was hitting early in that game. To me, that's a good sign if you're an Eagles fan.
CBS NFL analyst from their star-studded studio show. We saw your boy Nate Burleson and his lovely wife at dinner last night, by the way.
Listen, Nate is, I think he's the busiest man in broadcast. Right?
He really is.
Out there. It doesn't matter the genre. He's
there.
At it. Yes, he's there. And he's got energy. Late night dinners doesn't make a difference. Nate's up and at it in the mornings.
I remember you as a young quarterback, though, and you're just talking about Jalen Hurts there and how much you thrived in a hurry-up offense when you got to do the sort of the no-huddle stuff and you got to improvise maybe a little bit. Is that freedom something that you believe in, that quick pace, something that really does benefit Hurts? But more importantly, I want to know why. Why does it benefit him?
Well, I think it's twofold. Number one, it cuts down on the number of things you can do offensively, right? So you go to your bread and butter, the things you're most comfortable with. I think that's a good thing for a quarterback. On the flip side, it waters down what the defense does too. And so you're not getting, 15 different coverages or 15 different fronts or blitz combinations, right? You're getting only a handful. So I like that part of it. The second thing that I always felt, made it easier was if you can wear a defensive line out, right? If you can slow down, their get off, whether it's in the run game or it's in, drop back pass, whatever that may be. If you can slow down pass rush and get those guys tired on the defensive side of the ball, it just there brings a level of calm. So I like the simplicity on both sides that the no-huddle brings. I like slowing down the pass rush. And then, I also think it gives you, particularly, Jalen's not a young player anymore, but, particularly as a young player, it just gives you a level of freedom to check out of things too, right? To get you to trust your instincts, trust what you see. You've got the freedom to do it in those kind of situations. and you just trust your instinct.
Matt Ryan with us on the Comcast Business Hotline. You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from Radio Row in New Orleans through the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Now, Matt, it's great to talk about hurry-up offenses and how well Jalen Hurts is playing. I do want to talk about the defensive coordinator he's going up against. You've played against the Steve Spagnolo-led defense. How difficult is it going up against something that Steve Spagnolo can do over the course of the game? Because it always seems like he changes things up, and you see in big moments there's always that pressure off the edge that happens. We just saw it this last game against the Buffalo Bills. How difficult is it going up against Spags?
Very difficult. You know, he's one of the best in the league and has been for a long time. I always felt like when you were playing a Steve Spagnuolo defense, it was important to make first downs on first and second down, right? And stay out of, some of those third and longer situations. So being a little bit aggressive, I think on first down is important. And, I think the Eagles will do that. I also think the ability to run the football on third down waters down a lot of what Spags wants to do. And so, he'll give you exotic fronts, guys lined up in different places, people moving around. You've got pressures coming from the boundary. You saw it on that fourth down play last week, that 4-week pressure from the boundary. But, I think the Eagles' ability to run the football, it slows down some of the things that Spags wants to do because it's very difficult in some of those exotic pass rush pressures that they have to defend the run. And the Eagles are excellent at being able to get into the gun on third down, hand the ball off, whether it's inside zone or some of their gap scheme where they pull people, or even the ability for Jalen Hurts to run with the football. It becomes very difficult to defend those things. So I look at it as a really – I'm curious. I'm curious to see what Spags' game plan is to come out and try and slow down this Eagles offense.
Saquon has been the sort of the signature star that everybody talks about when you're looking at what the Eagles do. How much do you think Spagnolo will sell out to make sure that Saquon is not the guy that beats them? And then what opportunities does that truly provide?
Well, I think you have to go into that game, right? You have to go into it and say, if we're going to get beat, it's not because 26 is going to go for over 200. And so I do think, you're talking about bringing guys up into the box on first and second down, having 7-8 guys down around the line of scrimmage to try and defend the run. What becomes difficult, and Saquon's been so good versus that 7 and 8 man spacing, is there's only 3 guys left in the secondary. So if he finds a lane, those can become house calls. And he's done that all season long. I think Spags has to try and contain Saquon. I don't think you're shutting him down. I don't think you're shutting down that run game. It's not going to be, the Eagles rush for 50 or 60 yards. But you got to try and contain it, limit the big plays. And then, conversely, what does that do? It opens up opportunities on the outside. And you in Philadelphia, you've got 2 guys on the outside that can go, make plays in one-on-one situations, and A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. And I think, early on, I think first and second down early on, I think the ball's in Jalen Hurts' hands a little bit to go find those one-on-ones, which he's confident doing, taking those matchups. I'll be interested to see if they come up, they play some of that press coverage. I think Jalen threw the ball beautifully down the field on go routes last week. I think it becomes, maybe a dink and dunk kind of nickel and dime game at the beginning, for Jalen Hurts in the passing game as a result of Spags trying to bring some of that stuff down.
Nobody's stopping Patrick Mahomes, but how can Vic Fangio and this Eagles defense slow down Patrick Mahomes?
Well, I think the key to the game is the Eagles' interior defensive line. I think there's been a lot made of Kansas City moving Joe Thuney from guard out to tackle, and listen, he's done a great job. I think he's really solved a problem, for them at that left tackle spot. But, you talk about really good players for the Chiefs' offensive line and Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey, and then there's Mike Caliendo at the other guard spot. And so you're going against Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and Milton Williams, those guys. Like, to me, that's how you slow Patrick down, right, is you collapse the center of the pocket and you push into his feet and you make it muddy for him to see, and you contain rush on the outside. And then there's, some of the zone coverage that Vic Fangio likes to do behind it. I think it's critical that the defensive line, the interior defensive linemen for the Eagles play well. If you're going to shut Patrick down, you've got to make him uncomfortable by kind of collapsing that center of the pocket.
All right, Matt, you're a Chester County guy. You still have Philly roots. Is there going to be a big party in 19341 downtown Exton on Sunday night?
Listen, I made my mistake. I've made my mistake. I know I'm going to get crushed for it. I made my mistake on CBS going against the Chiefs. I thought the Bills would get it done. I think the Chiefs end up getting it done. But
what do you know? What do you know?
I will say, yeah, exactly. What do I know? I've been wrong all season long. So
then that's good news. That's good news for all of us.
For Eagles.
You realize you're going to get taunted in Wildwood this summer with all the Bird shirts. Oh, my God.
It's nothing new for me. That's been the case for a long time, so it's all good.
Matt, I so appreciate your time as always, buddy.
What's up, guys? Andrew Salciunas, my man John Kincade. You better be following us along all week long, because starting Wednesday and through the rest of the week, we got you covered from Radio Row, Johnny.
And it's going to be great because if you follow on our YouTube channel and you like and you subscribe, you're going to get all the great interviews and some of the little fun stuff we're doing behind the scenes to take you along with us to Super Bowl 59.
Yeah, obviously you can watch the entire show from 6 to 10, but all those shorts that we'll be doing. John and I are going to be walking around Bourbon Street. John might be carrying me around Bourbon Street.
That could happen.
So we're going to have a lot of fun, and we'll bring it to you.
And be sure to subscribe and like on everything on YouTube, and check out our socials too. We got you covered.
Absolutely. Thanks.